Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with strawberry ice cream. That's right, and there's two ways you can make this. You can use the classic French-style egg-based custard, which is harder and kind of muddles those beautiful fruity flavors. Or you can use what they call American-style ice cream, which does not include an egg custard, which is easier and in my opinion produces a much cleaner, brighter strawberry flavor. So guess which one we're going to use? Wrong, we're going to use the second one. So let's go ahead and get started, and the first step is to trim our strawberries. And all that means is trim off the green leaves at the top. By the way, these strawberries have been rinsed, and any small pointy knife is going to work. And I actually have a tool that does this. I believe it's called a strawberry huller. I said huller, but I have no idea where it is. It's probably in the junk drawer, but I can't be bothered to look. And as you'll notice, I'm trimming them right into a blender, because once we finish, the next step is we're going to add some sugar to this, just a little. And we're going to take that over to the blender, and we're going to go ahead and pulse that on and off till it gets going. And then we'll just blend that for a few seconds until those strawberries are pureed. And once that's been accomplished, what I like to do is just let it sit there for about 10 minutes. I believe that sugar is pulling out water from all those little particles of strawberry. And I think by letting it sit for a few minutes here, it does something. I'm not quite sure what. I call this intuitive science, and that it feels like it does something. But anyway, I'm going to let mine sit for 10 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients, which includes a pinch of salt. And this is important. Don't skip this. All right, I don't care if you think it's weird. You're weird if you don't put it in. So a few grains of salt. We're also going to add a spoon of pure vanilla extract. And please do not substitute with impure extract. It's not as good, so use the real stuff. And then that brings us to the dairy portion of the program. And we're going to use two kinds. I'm going to use some whole milk and some heavy cream. And basically twice as much heavy cream as milk. That's just my favorite particular blend. And then speaking of blend, I'm just going to give this a very, very brief blending, about 10-15 seconds. And in addition to mixing all the ingredients, it's going to thicken up our cream just ever so slightly. And I'm going to talk about this in the post, so go read that. You can totally screw up the whole recipe by over-mixing it here, because that could turn into whipped cream, and that's not what we want. So just a very brief blending. And as you'll see, like I said, it's going to thicken up just ever so slightly, which you will be able to witness as I stir in the next ingredient, which for me was 2 drops of all-natural, vegetable-based red dye. Oh, don't be afraid. Totally safe. This is not that toxic stuff our parents used to love. But anyway, that is optional. If you don't want it, don't put it. You are the Sid Bream of your ice cream. And I'm going to go ahead and stir that in, which is going to give that final product just 1 degree darker shade of pink. And right here, you can see what I was talking about. That mixture has a little bit of thickness to it, but it's not whipped. And at that point, I think we're ready to break out the ice cream maker. And I'm going to use your standard countertop style. It's a 1.5 quart size bowl that you keep in the freezer. That goes on the base. The little churning paddle goes inside. And then this clear cover goes over that. Very simple machine. And we'll turn that on, and that's it. And once we have that put together and spinning, let's go ahead and pour in our ice cream base. And by the way, the amounts here, give or take a strawberry, should fill this up all the way to the top. In fact, to be honest, I couldn't get the last couple tablespoons in. So that's why you see me eating a little bit here, so I could fit the rest in. Hey, what was I supposed to do? But anyway, once that mixture's in, you don't have much to do except stand there and wait for 15 or 20 minutes until it thickens. Oh, and one good tip, when this is finished churning, we got to move very quickly. All right, so go ahead and find your container you're going to keep this in ahead of time. But anyway, we're going to let that churn. And of course, because I'm a very conscientious chef, I like to do quality control checks throughout the process. And besides sneaking bites, it's kind of cool to watch it go through all the phases, from liquid to this here, which would resemble something like a thick milkshake. Which, by the way, if you stop right here and pour this in the glasses, you'll be enjoying like the best strawberry milkshake ever. But try to resist, let it go, and eventually you're going to see it thicken up, and that top's going to get way more three-dimensional. And it should be noted, these type of ice cream makers are not going to turn the ice cream all the way solid, but it will get plenty thick enough for us to freeze without it crystallizing, which for me was right about here. And as soon as we decide we've gone far enough, we're going to take that top off, and you have to move quickly. We have to get this into the freezer as soon as possible. So whatever you do, do not stop to take another bite. You're just wasting time. Okay, so do not do that. So like I said, we're going to move quickly. We're going to scrape it off that churning paddle. And of course, transfer the rest in. And as soon as you get it in there and even it out, I want you to throw down a piece of plastic, press it right down to the surface. And then we'll cover that, throw it immediately into the freezer until it freezes solid. At least 2 or 3 hours, okay? So feel free to make this the night before you want to eat it. But once it's frozen, we're going to go ahead and pull it out, take off the plastic, and give it the first official taste. But a couple of things to keep in mind. because we did not use one of those thicker egg-based custards, and because strawberries are almost all water, which means, of course, this ice cream base has a lot of water in it. Because of those two reasons, you're really not going to get that same thick, luxurious texture that you will with some other styles. But the payoff is, besides being easier, is that you really do get a much purer, much stronger, much more vibrant and fresh strawberry flavor. So that's the main reason I prefer this style. So let's go ahead and serve some up. And I think we should go ahead and garnish with a whole berry. It's going to make that gorgeous pink look even nicer. And that's it. Homemade strawberry ice cream. And as I dig in here, I should clarify. When I mentioned earlier about the textural differences, that's mostly in appearance and kind of how it feels on the spoon. But on the palate, this is actually quite smooth, quite rich, and as I mentioned already, has the taste of pure strawberries and cream. Just an incredible frozen treat, and for me, one of the quintessential experiences of summer. So I really hope you give this a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info, as usual. And as always, enjoy.